Hello, good evening and welcome to 3FM's 92.7. This is Hot Edition live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra and also live around the world on 3news.com. Coming up this evening, administrative work at public universities grind to a halt as Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana declare a nationwide strike effective today, Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2026. We would assess the impact of this decision in a moment. And later, mixed reactions after Majority Leader announced plans to change the name of the Kotoka International Airport to the Accra International Airport. Tonight, we engage a political historian. And later in the bulletin, Inspector General of Police Christian Tete Yahuno approves fresh round of command changes within the Ghana Police Service. What does this mean for the administration of the service? We will engage a security analyst. We're live around the world on our website and also streaming on YouTube and on Facebook, where we love to read your comments. So do let them come in. Before that, though, let's bring you the news summaries with Nura Mohammed. Hello.
Hello, Martin. Good evening. You're welcome to the news summaries on Hot Edition. First in the summaries, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbid has directed the Majority Leader to formally schedule a motion demanding a full parliamentary investigation into the termination of public sector jobs. The Tuesday directive followed a forceful announcement by the Minority Parliamentary Caucus, which vowed to use every parliamentary tool to challenge the government's action. The dispute stems from a directive from the Chief of Staff dated February 11, 2025, which sought to revoke the appointments of public sector workers hired after the December 7, 2024 general elections. Now, the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Haruna Mohammed, has assured party supporters that leadership is taking concrete steps to reunite members following the party's recent presidential primary that elected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as flag bearer. Mr. Mohammed acknowledged that internal elections often generate tensions and dissatisfaction among supporters, but insisted that reconciliation remains a top priority for the party. Meanwhile, the Institute of Economic Affairs has rejected the government's proposed sliding scale mineral royalty regime, describing it as a continuation of a colonial system that deprives Ghana of the full value of its natural resources. In a press release today, the influential Policy Institute criticized the draft Minerals and Mining Royalty Regulations 2025, which propose royalty rates ranging from 5% to 12% for minerals such as gold and lithium, and a flat 5% for diamonds, bauxite, manganese, salt, limestone, and iron ore. And that'll be all for the news summaries. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Nura. Now let's settle for the details of our stories now. The Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana have declared a nationwide strike effective Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2026, over government's failure to address their demands for improved working conditions, despite several protests and negotiations. Barely 12 hours after the declaration, the strike is already taking effect, leaving many students unable to pay admission and graduation fees. My colleague Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogwe was at the university premises and has come through with his report.
According to the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana, the decision to strike was unavoidable after repeated engagement with government yielded no results.
It has to do with our condition of service. It is a document that we have negotiated and agreed with government. And this document contains a number of items, of which overtime is one of them. And from last year, the University of Ghana decided to vary that condition of service by saying that they will not pay the overtime to deserving workers. They will rather pay call-in allowance because they have had information from government that they shouldn't pay senior staff overtime allowance whenever they work beyond regular hours. We pray they listen to us quickly, and then we also pray that the parents who have brought their children to the university just a few weeks ago that we have finished with the registration, they should speak up and let whatever we are asking for be given to us so that we can take care of their children, because their children have come here to study, and without us, work will not go on. Security, go!
Hours after the declaration, union leaders moved through offices and lecture halls to ensure full compliance with the directive. From one office to another, members were asked to vacate their posts with immediate effect. At the account office, Students who had queued to pay their fees were left stranded as services were withdrawn.
I'm supposed to graduate on the 16th of February, and then they say that I'm owing 61 cedis, which if I don't pay, I will not be able to graduate, so that's why I'm here. So I'll have to come here so they will attend to me, and they are saying they are on strike, yes. So I don't know how I'm going to graduate, that's why I'm here.
The leadership later moved to other departments, warning that members who failed to comply with the strike directive would face sanctions. The Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana represents administrative and professional staff across public universities. Their demands include improved conditions of service, salary adjustments, and the implementation of previously agreed policies. Until government responds, the union insists the strike will remain in force, raising concerns about prolonged disruptions to academic and administrative activities nationwide.
And you heard that report that was put together by Joseph Armstrong Golder. But let's go to the phone lines now and speak to the national president of the Senior Staff Association of University of Ghana. Mr. George Ansong, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, sir.
I'm
happy to have you.
Well, thank you for joining us. We know that last year, the association embarked on a strike over a number of grievances. How different is that from this particular one that you have just commenced?
Yes, there are differences. Last year, we embarked on a strike because we had signed an agreement with government, and government had failed to implement. That is what caused us to embark on that strike. But this time, it is the fair wages that has varied our conditions of service. An agreement that we have had with government. Now, fair wages has written to Legon to implement something alien to us, which they call call-in allowance instead of overtime allowance. This overtime allowance is still under negotiation. Then last year, around May, Legon decided not to pay. So we drew their attention, showed them the agreement we had. But Legon didn't listen to us. They went ahead to implement the call-in. And so we threatened to embark on strike. They were invited by National Labour Commission. Over there, fair wages came to testify that indeed we have an agreement. And for that matter, UG cannot say they will not pay. So they should pay until we have finished negotiations. So UG sought permission from National Labour Commission to go and do further engagement and come back. Before the set date to meet with National Labour Commission, we were invited by fair wages to come for negotiation. A day before the meeting, we got a letter from the VC from UG, which was written by fair wages, saying that senior staff do not qualify for overtime, and so they shouldn't pay overtime but call it. And we said, how? You have even come to testify in our favor. Why then do you turn around to write to Legon not to pay? So when we went for the meeting, we drew their attention to that letter, that they should withdraw it so that we can have a smooth negotiation. Fair wages failed to withdraw the letter. So the unions decided that they will not continue with them. So the set date for the meeting with National Labour Commission, we went. It was there then that Labour Commission, fair wages, came to say that they came to testify in error, that at the initial meeting when we met and they said we have agreement, it was in error. And so senior staffs do not qualify for overtime. Then Labour Commission said, fair wages has brought a case against us, that we are saying that we are no more interested in the negotiations, so we have reached a stalemate. So they should intervene. And we said we're not even aware of what they have brought to them. They have not served us. So we are pleading with them to allow Legon to report on their engagement. Labour Commission will not listen to us and ask Fair Wages to go and put their claim into writing and appear at another date. That date was this past 21st January. We listened, we're quiet, we went. Lo and behold, the Fair Wages who have caused all these things failed to appear and were asked to go back and come on the 11th of February. Meanwhile, now, it is not only Legon that has implemented the calling. UDS has implemented. UHAS has implemented. So if you don't take care, it will spread, because by that 11th that National Labour Commission has scheduled, by that time, most of the universities would have finished their payroll. And we don't know what other universities will also do.
Okay.
And so we said, no, we cannot sit down. Looks like National Labour Commission is also trying to drag its feet for the other universities to implement something that we have not signed to, something that we have not agreed. So on the negotiation table, and we have not concluded. Why do you implement something that is alien to us? And so we said we cannot sit down anymore. That is number one. Number two is UNIMAC, University of Media, Arts and Communication. This university came into being in about 6 years ago. It was amalgamation of three institutions, GIG, NAFTI, and IL, Institute of Languages. They were not tertiary, so their salaries and their allowances and everything was lower than that of universities. But now they have become fully fledged universities. And so we're expecting Fair Wages to place them on the single spine salary structure. For all of this while, we have had meetings, engagements, whatever. It was this January that they have been placed on the right level.
Okay.
But before then, the Ministry of Finance had written that the implementation would start from January. And we cautioned them that if you are implementing, what about the arrears? Because if I'm a university, I must enjoy what other universities are enjoying. The Ministry of Finance to respond within 7 days to our concern. None of it.
Okay,
so we say
clearly,
enough is enough.
Yeah, Mr. Ansong, clearly
yes.
A number of these concerns seem to have lingered for quite some time now, and from what you're saying, the responses have not been favorable from
yes.
especially government side, and even those that the Labour Commission is involved, it's been not forthcoming as you expect. You
sure.
believe a strike is the best option or the last resort available to the association?
My brother, for labor unions, that is our only last weapon that we can unleash. Because you write letters, you will never even get a response, any acknowledgement, let alone being invited for a meeting or something.
And
so
your other stakeholders, for which reason you are in the schools, you are in the universities in the first place, the students also bear the brunt of some of these decisions. So what are the plans to ensure that the academic calendar is not disrupted? Because usually that's what the case ends up to be.
That one, well, we don't teach, right? We are not teachers. The teachers are there. The university teachers, they are there.
Yeah, but at least you facilitate,
right.
University activities.
Well,
which
so
also affects
we also facilitate. And you have a serious concern. All these meetings that I'm talking about, VCG is in the meeting, right? VCG sends a representation. The ministries are also supposed to send representations, but most of the time, people from the ministries, they don't come. When you send letters, they will not respond. They will not even acknowledge. When you even write that you want to embark on strike, nobody will respond.
Okay.
So what do we do? As I'm saying, you see, we also have our kids in the school. It's not only outsiders, excuse me to say, who have their kids in the school. We also have kids. We also pay their fees and everything. But if you will not give me anything, you have not even asked for any new thing. But the little that I am taking, you want to take it from me. Is it fair? The children are our children. As we are on strike, if they can't attend lectures, they also come to the house. And it will affect all of us.
Okay. Now let's talk about the way forward. So yes, the strike is in full force. What kind of response would get you back to the universities, to get you back to work? What exactly would you want to see? Not just probable responses to your letters and meetings, but what are the, if you can give me like 2 or 3 concrete things the association intends to see before rescinding or calling off the strike?
So for us to call off the strike, one, as I said, the labor, what do you call it? Fair Wages and Salaries Commission should withdraw that letter and instruct those universities who have started implementing something that is unknown to us to revert to the default setting until negotiations are completed. 2, we are expecting the government to invite us to sit down and talk about the arrears of our brothers and sisters as Unimark. And let me tell you that this strike, the TUC is also part, and FUSAC is also part, because they also have their members at Unimark. And our tier 2 deductions to that have not been paid from 2024, August 2024 to December 2024. They are all part. So all these unions are with us.
That's quite a huge number. So for people who may not necessarily understand, you know, the university is a big body with different components. For those who may not understand who senior staff are, can you give us a general idea, you know, who
all
in
right.
the
So
university is a
senior staff, we are every corner of the university. We take the offices, the administrative staff there are senior staff. If you go to the accounts office, auditing, senior staffs are the people who are working 24/7. You go to basic school, all the teachers are members. Hospital, all the nurses and paramedics are members. You go to the teaching area, the technicians are members. You go to development office, you go to maintenance, you go to transport, you go to security, you go to library.
Then that's the whole university.
Well, so, and when even it comes to population, the senior staff have the numbers. Even before the UTAC members.
And do some of your meetings, or are your meetings expected to have maybe the vice chancellors or the leadership of the universities? Are they part of the senior staff, and what role can they play in at least ensuring that these grievances get to the right authorities for responses?
So as I said initially, when we engage, when we are doing negotiation, VCG is fully represented.
And VCG is what?
VCG is Vice Chancellors Ghana. That is, they have a union. All the Vice Chancellors, they have come together. Vice Chancellors plus registrars plus finance officers.
Okay.
We call them VCG. And the chairman is one of the Vice Chancellors. So currently, the chairman is at UMAT. So when we have such meetings, he is there. But he sits at the government side. He doesn't join us because they are the employees, and the employers are on the government side.
Okay.
So even if they agree with what we are saying, they cannot argue much. They can't say much.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We are also trying to see if we can get responses from the appropriate quarters on some of these concerns you have raised. And I want to say thank you for explaining your side of the conversation to us. I would hope that things are resolved as soon as possible. Thank you again, George Anson.
Thank you very much.
And he is the national president of the Association of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana. So it's not just the University of Ghana, but it cuts across almost all public tertiary institutions, and even mentioned other groupings like FUSAG that many of you may not have known about as members of the association. So they are quite a sizable number when you're looking at the those that make up the university human resource. And if they are going on strike, it means it's going to have adverse effect on teaching and learning, which is actually the primary reason why some of these universities or educational institutions are set up in the first place. So what exactly will government's response be, considering the fact that they say several meetings have been held, several letters have been written, but little to no concrete response has been, given in terms of the next steps or line of action. So they believe that their final arsenal, which is to embark on strike, is what they have deployed. And in the next few days, we'll see what government's response will be on the way forward to resolve the impasse. It's quite a serious conversation that we are hoping that they can get some answers to, so that university activity is not adversely affected. Already, we are told that some students are being turned away because offices where their services are required, the students go and are unable to get the needed attention or assistance. Let's also bring in the thoughts of the National Labour Commission, the NLC. They are instrumental when it comes to issues of labor. Dr. Bernice Welbeck is the acting executive secretary. She's joined us for a quick conversation on this. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
We know that the National Labour Commission is to be notified before any state institution that has, staff decide to declare a strike. Is the Labour Commission aware of the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana's strike, which, according to them, is with immediate effect?
Your voice is far off, but I've struggled to hear you because you're asking if the NLC is aware of the strike by
the Senior Staff Association.
Yes, so we received a notice from them. In fact, it was a notice that was served by, I think, 4 different unions at the university, and in which they were notifying us formally of a strike action they intended to undertake. And so, yes, they did inform us. And when they did, we also acted upon it immediately in pursuance of the law. So we wrote to them. When I say them, we wrote to the workers who are aggrieved, and to the employer representatives. And we enumerated the issues that, as they listed them, and their notification, and asked them to appear before the Commission on the 4th of February 2006 at 2 p.m. For a hearing of the issue. As soon as we do that, that means that the National Labour Commission has intervened. And so we went further to tell them that with this intervention, which means the Commission has assumed a jurisdiction of the issue, they should stay off the intended action and appear for the Commission to listen to the issue. So that is what, yes, they served that notice, and that is the action that we've also taken to ensure that the matters over which they are agreed, the Commission hears it And at the end of the day, if it has to issue celebrations, then it's that stuff. So that is it.
And you acknowledge that they notified you of the intended strike, and you say you invited them to a meeting. Is it that the issues being raised, and according to them, these are old issues, they are not necessarily fresh or new. These are old issues, some of which the Labour Commission is already aware of. So what was the essence of the invitation to them to appear before the Commission? Was it to give you a better understanding of why they were deciding to go on strike now, or it is to find the appropriate channels to resolve their concerns?
So if you ask me what is the essence of inviting them, then I would also ask what is the essence of their embarking on strike. I think that the reason they are embarking on strike is because they are saying that they have issues outstanding, which the other party is not attending to, right? And if some of the issues are known to us, the issues are not are known to us in our capacity as an adjudicating body, and I believe that these issues are matters. Some of them are matters that have come before the Commission, over which the Commission has issued certain instructions. So if a party is not complying, and then we have received a notification, then maybe one party is overstated, and they feel that, well, this party is not, the other party is not complying or is not acting as we expected. That is a claim by them. It's important that as an adjudicating body, we invite them. They are dissatisfied, they are aggrieved, they are unhappy about something. And so how do we go into the matters if we don't invite them? We as a commission, we are adjudicating bodies, we are not a negotiating body. It is only when we go to arbitration that the matters are decided. Even that one, it's a decision that is made. So the only way we can go into the matters is to invite the parties. Because at the end of the day, if they are outside there, matters will not be resolved outside there. Definitely the parties will come to the table. So if somebody is not acting well as it were, it is for them to appear before the Commission, for the Commission to understand why these matters are not being resolved. And so that is the purpose of the invitation. That is the only way that the Commission can go into these matters, by getting the parties together. In fact, that 10 ultimate paragraph of our letter even indicated that the respondent is directed to engage with the complainant union to deliberate on the issues and ways of addressing them, and formally file a report of the outcome of the deliberation to the Commission on or before 2nd February 2026. As I sit here, we haven't received any report. So these are matters that when they appear before the Commission, these are matters that will be heard. And the reasons why certain things haven't happened would be gone into. So yes, they've been invited, because we invite them. It is only at the table that the Commission can listen to the parties and understand why certain things are not being done or have not been done. And then if the Commission has to issue further directives or take further action, then the Commission does that. So that is the purpose of the invitation that has been extended to the parties to appear before the Commission.
And I'm not sure they attended the meeting. Now they've gone ahead to declare a strike. What options are left for the Labour Commission under these current circumstances?
So the meeting is supposed to come on tomorrow. They are here. They have been summoned to appear before. So the meeting is tomorrow. So in line with the law, once the meeting is, in fact, they shouldn't have even undertaken. They shouldn't have commenced, because we did acknowledge notice, and we have taken steps to hear the matter. I mean, the Commission as a body, and so we weren't expecting that tomorrow that we are supposed to appear before the Commission gave embarked on strike. But that is not what we are talking about. The Commission has invited them for tomorrow, not before tomorrow. The 10 ultimate paragraph that I read to you is the Commission's letter, where it was asking the parties, the employees or the and the complainants, to meet over the issues over which they intended or they intend to, so that when they appear before the commission, then they would place it before. So that is separate invitation to the parties themselves. That is different from the parties appearing before the commission tomorrow at 2 p.m. So there are two separate issues.
Right. Okay. All right. We are grateful that you brought some clarity to this, and then the understanding we are getting now is that the meeting will be tomorrow. Finally, before you take leave of us, so, I mean, is there, as an adjudicating body, the NLC that is, are there probable sanctions maybe for they embarking on a strike when they haven't even, met you to properly put before you why they are deciding to go on strike? I'm just asking, and this is more a general question, that in the many labor issues that come up every now and then, does the Labor Commission have prosecutorial powers, maybe for lack of a better expression, to sanction any grouping, any labor grouping that does not follow due process? And in this instance, they've actually embarked on the strike when they know that they are expected to come and have a meeting with you?
Well, let them appear before the commission tomorrow, because the commission, they haven't appeared. The commission hasn't heard them, and so if there are some sanctions or there are some directives that will be issued, that would be after, whether there would be or not be, that would be after the commission has heard the parties. So let the appearance happen before the other things would follow.
Right. Thank you so much once again for speaking to us, Madam Bernice Welbeck.
You're welcome.
And that is Dr. Bernice Welbeck, Acting Executive Secretary for the National Labour Commission, and has brought a totally different perspective to this conversation we are having, where the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana have embarked on a strike effective immediately, and the impact is already being felt. And she has just confirmed to us on 3FM that the parties have been invited to a meeting expected to take place tomorrow at 2 p.m. and I will definitely follow it very keenly and update you when we do get any further updates. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. We are shifting our attention to labor, still on labor issues, but this time around to the security services, the Ghana Police Service specifically. The IGP has been busy. Now, he has approved a fresh round of command changes within the Ghana Police Service, and the new assignments take effect immediately. Christian Teteyehono, who is the Inspector General of Police, has endorsed a reshuffle where the Director General in charge of Technical Services, Commissioner of Police Dr. Saibu Pabi, has now been moved to head the National Protection Directorate. At the same time, the Director General of Welfare, COP Idi Lansa Seidu, takes over responsibility for the Technical Directorate. There have also been changes at the operational level, where the Director General of Operations, COP Dr. Vance Baba Garba, has been reassigned to the Research and Planning Directorate. COP Emmanuel Teikujo moves from the Police Professional Standards Bureau to become the new Director General of Operations. Meanwhile, DCOP Daku Ofe Lomote, who previously headed Research and Planning, has been appointed Director General of the Police Professional Standards Bureau. DCOP Eric Ken Winful has been also moved from the National Protection Directorate to take charge of welfare. The reshuffle extends to the regional commands as well. DCOP Charles K. Edu is now Eastern Regional Police Commander, while DCOP Isaac Asante has been transferred from the Eastern Region to the National Headquarters. In the Central Region, DCOP George Ohenibuedi takes over as Regional Commander, and DCOP George Ankoma has been moved from Central MTTD Ashanti Region to head the Eastern North Region. And DCOP Alex Kojo Wowolo, formerly Director of ICT at the National Headquarters, is now in charge of Central MTTD in the Ashanti Region. We'll try and get what all of this means later, looking at the fact that the Ghana Police Service, under the new leadership of IGP Christian Teteyehono, has decided to reshuffle, or at least agreed to a reshuffle to redistribute his men to ensure effective service delivery or policing across the country. Emmanuel Kuting is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. He's joined us for some analysis on this. Mr. Kuting, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
From the security perspective, what do these changes, when the IGP decides to reshuffle his men, move some of them around, what exactly do you think the aim?
Technically, there's nothing wrong about it. The IGP has the prerogative to reshuffle his commissioners how he deems fit to run his administration. By in doing so, there must be certain considerations. And that's why some of us term this reshuffle as radical. And if care is not taken, it will signal some form of disunity at the top of the police hierarchy. And that could be the doing of the Inspector General of Police, COP Ewuno. You remember the former IGP, COP Alassane, and the John Mahama I. You realize he did similar reshuffle. It didn't last 2 months. He was even meeting inspectors when it came on air that he's been fired. And you see, our security is such that when even appointments are done, you look at regional considerations. If you look at the reshuffle, that was not taken in place into consideration. And let me cite this special case to you, the Ghana Armed Forces. You realize when they were looking for a chief of staff, they needed a guy dangme. Not because there were no other qualified people, but because of the regional balance. And you recall favorably when my organization released a letter that Anna was far a junior to occupy that position, as that would have led to many of the seniors going home. At the end of the day, what did it happen? His replacement was a guy Adami, and that is a Lakai. But if you look at what has happened at the top of the police hierarchy, unfortunately, nothing is happening there, and steps must be taken to rectify that.
So maybe the steps.
Unfortunately, I would say that the harm is already done, and that is never to say. And let me clarify that the changes that have been made, those who have been given opportunity of a sort to serve are not capable. No, it's just about the regional dynamics and other considerations that has always underpinned the administration of our security agencies. And look, as a country, we have to start having a conversation, having some form of a 10-year, 20-year development agenda for our security agencies, so that the security heads don't come and do whatever they want and go. Then Parry came and did his own. Yehudu came and he threw everything on board and he's doing his own. He also leaves, somebody comes. How do we build our institutions like that? What will be the underpinning principle of continuity in all of this? To me, it is just total waste of our taxpayers' money in these machinations. And the earlier as a country we look at policy and correct these things, the better for all of us.
All right, Mr. Kuting, your very early submission says that this is totally at the prerogative of the IGP, and he, having known his men and looking at the current challenges that the country needs, the country is facing in terms of policing, if he decides to move his men around, if people are aggrieved, why should that be? The boss at the top sees challenges and says that maybe you are capable to go here, so do that. You come to the headquarters. And then he does this reshuffle. Why would people meet some of these decisions with emotions? And why are there tribal or regional considerations when we are talking about security for all?
I'm very happy you raised this issue. Having power doesn't mean you can use it arbitrarily. Look, if I'm the president of Ghana and I have children who are capable and they're all graduates or whatsoever, I appoint them as ministers, does it make it right because I have the prerogative? The ethnic and regional balance has always been something that has guided us as a people. It's not to say that I'm preaching some kind of tribalism here. Not at all. It has been a tradition. And I cited the military as an example. Even look at how regimental the military is. Such appointments are underpinned by regional considerations. So the police cannot be different. And you see, I'm very sorry to say this. Many of the casualties in these radical reshuffles were people who were otherwise being considered for the same position the IGP is holding. And truth be told, when they gave him the 2-year extension, you know, some of us, as a matter of principle, spoke against it. Not the person you will know, but the office. It stifles professionalism. Just imagine it was somebody's turn to also come and bring to bear what he has learned so much in the system. Because you are giving somebody an extension or a contract of a sort, the person is affected. Is it fair? Let's ask this as a country. So it's not the issue of me being a security analyst, and your question was to the view that if the people are capable, why not? Why are we talking about tribal and regional balance here? It is something that has guided us as a people. And don't forget, Ghana has over 47 plus ethnic groupings, and our strength is in our diversity. So in everything we do, we must take those things into consideration. Security does not live out of a vacuum. Security is meant for the people. Is that not it?
Absolutely.
So when we are talking about people, we must talk about things that work for everybody. Okay. It's not about tribalism at all. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not a tribalist.
No. Mr. Kutin, I'm sure I am very confident that that was not the basis for my question. I was asking on the premise that if you and I are applying to be part of the Ghana Police Service, I do not know, I haven't applied to the service before, but I do not know whether they are asked their tribes. It is purely your name. And then so if you rise through the ranks and you are capable and you are expected to be the next IGP or the next regional commander, it is by virtue of your capabilities and your competence. It shouldn't be, like you're saying, the system already is challenged because over the years we have considered tribe, we have considered region, which region the person comes from before appointing them. And I'm asking that, does that or has that helped or hurt the policing system in the country? Why should your region you come from be considered and probably your competence is put aside?
Unfortunately, that is what has guided us. Even at recruitment level, they look at regional balance. That is why in the decentralization process, they take people from that region more, because you will not have the same chances of being selected in another region. And I cited very classical examples. Even once upon a time, even in our army, there were accusations that because somebody had stayed in power for a long time, the appointment and things were skewed towards that tribe. It became a serious issue in this country. Agent steps were taken to rectify that. That is why when appointments are done, even the president is very conscious of that.
Right.
And more often than not, apart from capacity, regional consideration is always paramount.
Wow. Okay. And finally, you follow these appointments. Would it does it come as a concern to you? I get the sense from your submissions that it may hurt the current IGP. Is that would I be right in assuming that?
Definitely, because if you look at how heretical the Ghana Police Service have always been, these senior commissioners, they have spent so many years in the system, and they have kind of created some kind of systems along the line, and they were holding very, very, very important commands within the service. Let me cite this example. Like Garba, who has been moved from operations to research and planning. Research and planning otherwise should have been one of the most powerful organs of the police as an institution. Because any institution that thrives on research and planning. But unfortunately, go and look at the state of that office. Now, Tay has been brought as the Director General of Operations. Is that not it?
Yeah.
Tay is a guy Adangme. The IGP is a guy Adangme. So it means that the two most sensitive positions in the police service goes to the guy Adangme. And I don't think that it sits very well with the rest of the country. And Yewonu should have been very minded about that. Because this country, I always say, it's our diversity that keeps us together.
Right.
And we must not do anything to undermine that diversity.
Okay. Mr. Kuting, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening.
Most grateful.
And that is Emmanuel Kuting, who is a security analyst and the executive director of the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, and sharing his thoughts on the new reshuffle that has just swept through the Ghana Police Service. If you go to our website, 3news.com, you see the new names that are taking new positions. And I mean, make of that information what you will, but we will definitely see how the next few days go, as we are seeing that a number of them are going to start moving to their new offices with immediate effect. And talking about policing, well, there's one police officer that has a history with the Ghana airport that we know, and his name is Kotoka. He actually was called Maxwell Kotoka. Well, there is a problem about his name being put on the Ghana airport, where now the Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kotoka, there are people clamoring for his name to be removed from our airport, and that seemed to have become a major problem. Mixed reactions have greeted government's intention to rename the Kotoka International Airport to its original name, which is the Accra International Airport, with some describing the move as long overdue. It has been 59 years since the National Liberation Council, a government that was some years ago in charge of the country, changed the name of Ghana's main international airport from Accra International Airport to the Kotoka International Airport in honor of Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kotoka. Kotoka died during a failed coup attempt on the 17th of April 1967, an operation that later became known as Operation Guitar Boy. His name, however, has remained attached to Ghana's principal gateway for decades. Over the years, sustained agitation from civil society groups, historians, and Pan-Africanists has kept the debate alive, with critics arguing that the name stands as a painful reminder of the 1966 overthrow of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The majority leader in parliament earlier today says that the Mahama administration is set to move ahead with plans to rename the airport. We'll hear him later, but let's go straight to the phone lines now and speak to let's speak to a historian. Many of you know that he has the history of Ghana. He knows it like the back of his palm. Kweku Dako Ankra has joined us on phone. Mr. Ankra, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, my brother.
Thank you for joining us. To start with, what are your immediate thoughts on this? Do you think it's a step in the right direction, or the calls for the airport to be renamed? What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it is a step in the right direction, but to actually situate the point very well for people to understand is that there are certain ingredients one have to make when you are naming a monument for its longevity, so that it creates that sort of national cohesion. Okay, and that is what for many historians who have studied issues of monuments, it was lacking at the time that the so-called General Kotoka trustee decree was issued by the NLC in 1969 for the name to be changed from Accra International Airport to Kotoka International Airport. That decree was given a democratic era sort of power in 1971, when the decree of 69 was actually changed to an act by the Progress Party regime. So what it is that first, when you want to name a monument should have what we call, it must preserve the national history and the identity of people, which means as a monument that is standing, it should be a commemorative landscape where both all the citizens in the societies are binded together through a shared history and of patriots that are being spoke about. And this is what brings a very important advantage, which is the economic significance. So the monument should not only be a place where people talk about it, but it should be a place that it can attract visitors and tourists too. And with regards to Kotoka, we don't see that when even African Americans and people come and then they see Kotoka International Airport and then they look at the statue and they ask, who is it? And you mentioned that this is the man who did so and so. And the people don't take pictures of it, the people don't talk about it, and they will just ignore. So it has become just a sort of white elephant standard. Then there must also be a value and education which celebrates leadership and service. So when you look at Kotoka, what is actually is the service to the country? What should the children of today emulate, and then the future generation, what are they going to emulate from him? Now that coup making has become a very bad business in our governance system in Africa. Then again, they must also look at the monument itself is also put up with embeddedness of power or a certain political power. So historically, people want to use the monument to talk about certain things that happen in the country based on the power that the person utilized. So in this situation, Kotoka is framed by the actors who put it up as the one who ensured the overthrow of a very autocratic regime, which is Nkrumah's government, and then paved way for a new democratic arrangement in 1969. So people are pushing him that way.
Doctor, sorry for coming in, Mr. Ankra. Is it that, so I get the sense in what you're saying that at the time there were people who supported Lieutenant General Kotoka, and it is part of the way of remembering him that they've named it after him. So what happens in this instance where there is a general call for the name change because of the coup that brought him into power? What happens to those people now?
So what happened is that now those very ideal has not been found to be relevant because it's not standard. Because if people have read cables and then a CIA document that showed that the coup itself was not something that was engineered by these perpetrators, but by an outside influence. And again, if you look at their period and the work they did, Nkrumah's capabilities and the sort of things they did, shadow all of them, and so forth. So when you compare the two governments, there is no any intention that that person should stand there, because all what they did was participate in a coup to overthrow a legitimate, constitutionally elected government, which if they have been caught, they would have faced treason. So that is where the power is coming. And now the contestation, as you ask, is about inclusivity and how to redress some of the wrongs that is associated with the, the statute. So now people are reflecting about the knowledge of what we have in the past and what we have today. And they are saying that when we look at the time we live in, there was something that was fundamentally wrong with erection of that statue. So let's take a quick one for you. There is nothing wrong when people find out that something that they have erected as a monument is not right in their contemporary situation. So if you go to Oxford University, Aung Suu Kyi, who studies in the university following the Rohingya crisis that caused many people to die, okay, as a result, her name has been removed from the university. And if you, in the United States, if you quite remember, after Charlottesville rally, a lot of Confederate officers and slave dealers their names have been removed from the public school.
Right.
In the year 2025, Young Dundas Square in Canada, okay, was removed and renamed Sankofa Square in 2025 as a result of Henry Dander's name being associated with the transatlantic slave trade. And they changed that Canadian John Dander Square at a cost of $12.7 million.
Right.
Just to change it back to Sankofa Square, which means they are reclaiming the past and to remove away all the painfulness associated with the transatlantic slave trade.
Okay.
That is Canada. In August 23rd, 2025, in central Berlin, Germany, the street formerly known as Mahinstrasse or Mall Street was officially renamed Antoine Arnaud Street. Okay. Antoine Arnaud was a Ghanaian philosopher scholar who studied in Germany. He's an Enzoma. His name has been used to replace that street, which the Germans found the Mall Street to be a sort of very bad to be named after a street.
Okay.
I get my point.
I do.
So some of the questions people are asking is, why do we even change a place? After all our leaders have flaws. So if we are to go into it, then there will be no need to change anything, because after all, if you look at every leader, you will find something. Someone, for instance, let me finish for you. Okay. Let me finish for you, please. Okay. So one time, Condoleezza Rice was arguing about the removal of the Confederate army names from the schools, and he was saying that is sanitizing history. But we cannot sanitize the history. The good and the bad of that history must be remembered, because if we sanitize our history to make us feel better, it is a very bad thing, because people will not also know the bad behavior of some of the actors in our history. But the good thing is that that is the very reason, the very point that she made of being very pattern. That is the very reason we need not to remind people about the painful past, which does not reflect the history. So if you look at Kotoka International Airport, it was not originally named Kotoka International Airport. The original name is Accra International Airport. So returning the name back to its former glory of Accra International Airport is solidly in tandem with our enduring national indigenous knowledge philosophy of Sankofa, which is all about importance of looking back to reclaim the past to move forward.
Uncle Kweku, thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure hearing you talk about our history and the way forward. Thank you for speaking to us this evening.
Thank you too.
And he is a political historian and also very knowledgeable when it comes to issues of Ghana's history, helping us put into perspective this argument or debate about the renaming or the proposal to rename the Kotoka International Airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. We'll bring you 1 minute of sports news, and Billy Shen is in the building. Do stay with us. This is 3FM on 92.7.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Shen. The Ghana Football Association's president, Kurt Okraku, has revealed that the Black Stars will play 4 friendly games before the 2026 World Cup takes place. The team is scheduled to already face Austria in March 27th and Germany on March 30th. In an interview with veteran sports journalist Kwabena Yeboah, Kurt outlined the plans put in place for the Black Stars ahead of the Mundial.
We have to be prepared. We have already announced 2 key friendly games, one in Vienna and one in Stuttgart. We intend to do 2 more games, making a total of 4. That should be enough for us. Fortunately, because we were placed in Port 4, we're starting our World Cup campaign on the 17th of June instead of the 11th. So we have time to adjust and to prepare a lot more. And I think that people who know Otto Addo know that he's a workaholic. He doesn't sleep, and he's been working with the backroom staff getting the work underway.
That was Aketo Kreku, the GFA president. Now, before we do go, the Royal Moroccan Football Federation has announced on Tuesday its decision to appeal the sanctions recently issued by the Disciplinary Committee of the Confederation of African Football. The legal challenge follows the controversial 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final held on January 18th, 2026, which was marred by a mid-match walk-off by the Senegalese national team and subsequent fan violence. An official statement, the FRMF characterized the disciplinary measures as not appropriate to the gravity and seriousness of the events that unfolded during the championship match. And the federation's leadership has already voiced their concerns in formal correspondence to CAF President Patrice Motsepe. So we'll give you more updates as and when they do come around. That's it for the sports segment here on Hot Edition of 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Shen, and that also brings an end to this edition of the Hot Edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow with more updates on news, sports, entertainment, and